joining us for Mornings on the Hill.
And I'm Dom Usillo. Here's a look at some of the stories we'll be talking about over the next half hour.
Daily Orange is looking for a new home. We'll tell you why the paper could be leaving its longtime Ostrom Ave location.
Also, Byrd Library holds its annual disability exhibit to promote inclusion.
And see how one local gym is helping raise awareness for childhood cancer.
We'll have all that, plus your weather and orange sports coming up on this edition of Mornings on the Hill.
Our top story this morning, the Daily Orange might soon be leaving Ostrom Ave.
Our Sunny Sai has a story on why and where they're going.
Orange has been at 744 Ostrom Avenue for nearly 4 decades. Now they are looking to relocate as SU plans to potentially build new dorms on the 700 block of Ostrom. Editor-in-Chief Sam Ogzeleg says he hopes to secure a new office by June 2020. He also says the Daily Orange is not really looking at moving toward main campus.
We're looking more at the outskirts of campus, the Euclid Avenue corridor, the University Hill neighborhood as a whole, also north of main campus, down toward East Genesee Street. Those are kind of the locations that we're really checking out.
Ogzeleg believes that production of the DO will not be interrupted during the future move, but it will be a big change in the organization's history.
It's definitely a major undertaking. It's moving a paper that's been operating since 1903 to a new building. It's transitioning staff over to a new building, but it also creates a great opportunity.
Other campus organizations also lease their buildings from SU here on Ostrom Avenue.
Some of these organizations have already moved out or are preparing for the move. Off-Campus and Commuter Services has already relocated to Goldstein Student Center. Other organizations on Ostrom include the Center for Autism Research, the Lambda Chi Alpha Fraternity, and the LGBT Resource Center, which will move to the Byrd Library by January. The 5th floor of the library is currently under construction to prepare for this relocation. As for the Daily Orange, there has not yet been a set date that the organization will move out from Ostrom. Ogzeleg sees the move as a chance to grow the organization.
It does create an opportunity to make sure that wherever we do end up, we have more room to continue expanding our staff in that regard. So we're excited about it, and it's definitely an interesting process.
SU released their first draft of the campus framework for potential redevelopment on Ostrom in 2016. This has been Sunny Sai for Mornings on the Hill.
The Daily Orange's lease with SU expires in June 2020. And now it's time to check your weather for today.
Elijah Williams is live to tell us what to expect.
It's going to be a cold week, an interesting cold week here in Syracuse. It's going to be much colder than it was last week as temperatures have dropped nearly 20 degrees. Today is the high is 48 with a low of 38 and 90% chance of rain. Thursday, the rain clears up with a high of 42 and a low of 34 with partly cloudy skies. Friday, we'll see some sunshine and a high of 57 and a low of 44. The rain will be back on Saturday for the homecoming game with a high of 50 and low of 35. Sunday is going to be a possible glimpse of snow, and the high is 40 and the low is 32. Now, I'm from South Carolina, and this is not the norm for mid-October. So if you're from those warmer states, go ahead and get ready for some real Syracuse weather. So go ahead and pull out those umbrellas, heavy rain jackets, and possibly those old snow boots. Happy homecoming, and back to you in the studio.
Well, thanks, Elijah. It's looking like it's time for winter out here. Well, if you're interested in getting CPR certified, Syracuse University Ambulance can help. SUA is offering CPR training for students, faculty, and staff with several sessions throughout the semester. The first class was held on Monday.
Students reviewed adult, child, and infant CPR techniques. Paul Smith, the manager of emergency medical services at SU, says CPR training is how students can be prepared for any situation.
My hope is after they leave that 2.5 to 3 hour class, that they are comfortable if they're ever given that situation where they need to act as a rescuer with either an adult, child, or infant.
The course costs $50 to attend, and students can be certified after one session. To find out when the next class is being held, please visit the SUA website. In other news, this October, the nation is celebrating its 73rd Disability Awareness and Appreciation Month.
Our Tyler Lowell. Okay.
Each October, Syracuse University puts on a series of events to uphold its commitment to inclusion, diversity, and access for students and faculty both with and without disabilities. Kate Pollock is the coordinator for SU's Disability Cultural Center. She encourages members of the SU community to take a look at the book selection near the Peter Graham Scholarly Commons in Byrd Library.
So every October we have a disability studies exhibit in the library that the Access and Inclusion librarian Kate Dybel puts on with some of her colleagues. And it's a selection of books from Byrd Library that are about disability studies and disability rights and disability issues.
The exhibit features a wide array of different books. Pollock said the selections can range from law, history, politics, poetry, and everything in between. And they are significant because they are an entry point for many people to learn the long and sometimes difficult history of our nation's relationship to differently abled bodies.
Right. And you can really spend a lot of time learning about it, and it's very, very interesting. Like, for example, there's a book on the freak show. You know, that's a really cool book. That's something that disabled people used to do for work because there was no Social Security and they didn't have any access in the community, so they would become part of the freak show, and that's one of the interesting books that we have at the library.
Disability Awareness Month is the perfect opportunity to shine a spotlight on some of the vast and varied contributions disabled employees give to the American workforce. Books like those on display at the Byrd Library help make visible those that can often be pushed to the margins of our society. Understanding people's different abilities and how they operate can help make our society a more inclusive one for everyone that wants to participate.
Pollock says the scheduled events are a great way to learn more about the services and disability resources available to campus community members.
That was Mornings on the Hill's Tyler Lowell. Elsewhere on campus, 2019 is going to be a progressive year for the university's online portal for students, faculty, and staff.
The university recently announced that they want to guarantee gender inclusivity for LGBTQ students. Once the updates happen next fall, students and faculty will have an option to choose their preferred pronoun.
Coming up here on Mornings on the Hill, People's Place is getting an upgrade. We'll tell you what changes you can expect to see in the cafe.
Stay with us for those stories and much more on Mornings on the Hill.
Welcome back. Auto Tunes, one of the a cappella groups on campus, recently performed for an important cause.
Our Rebekah Gutierrez is live in the studio to tell us more about the event.
Thanks, Taylor and Dom. Auto Tunes continued its tradition of hosting a concert to bring awareness to testicular cancer. The concert was at Hendricks Chapel on Saturday, and a $5 donation was recommended. All Men's a cappella group hosted their 6th annual fundraiser for the Testicular Cancer Foundation. The group, famous for their orange pants, aimed to shine a light on a disease that could affect anyone from the community. David Robusto is a senior and the president of Auto Tunes. He says it's important to raise awareness for this cause.
What a lot of people don't know is that testicular cancer is actually the most common form of cancer in men ages 15 to 34. So obviously very, very relevant to our age demographic as college students.
Although the fundraiser is about a serious cause, the Auto Tunes make sure to stay true to themselves.
Testicular cancer obviously has a particular stigma to it that maybe actually prevents some people from wanting to talk about it. But we knew that by bringing our own sort of unique, fun, excited, genuine light to this cause, that people could get really, really excited about it with us.
The Buffalo Chips from the University of Buffalo and Syracuse University's own Orange Appeal joined the Auto Tunes on stage. Syracuse University quarterback Rex Culpepper shared his experience with the disease. The Auto Tunes also shaved a member of their group's head for reaching their fundraising goal. Freshman JJ Tanaka was impressed with the group's event. He said he appreciates the group's mission to raise awareness for testicular cancer.
Knowing that I could be a possible victim of this disease, I'm going to be sure to try to make sure that to be aware for testicular cancer and watch out.
The Auto Tunes have a lot to sing about. Their concert surpassed their fundraising goal and raised over $3,700 for the Testicular Cancer Foundation. For Mornings on the Hill, I'm Rebekah Gutierrez. Back to you, Taylor and Dom.
Thanks, Becca. Another event in Central New York is raising money for cancer research as well, but this time instead of singing, they're spinning.
Now to Mornings on the Hill contributor Hannah Duncan with a story on a young boy's fight against the disease.
Great. At the Strive for Strength gym in Shoppingtown Mall, riders gather for a spin class. However, exercise isn't their only focus. They're training for this year's 46-mile ride for childhood cancer awareness, where teams raise money and ride spin bikes in honor of children who have fought against pediatric cancer. Director Katie O.J. says everyone who helps put the event together plays a very important role.
I couldn't do this without each of those bikes being dedicated to a child, being able to share their stories, getting those pictures. That's really what it's all about. So if I didn't have the support of the families, it wouldn't be possible.
The event raises awareness, but it's also a way to show the families they're not alone. One of those families, the Macros, was shocked to learn in 2010 that 4.5-year-old Connor Macro was diagnosed with kidney cancer.
We just thought it was a cold, maybe the flu, brought him to the hospital, and 11 days later we left. He had one less kidney and we had a cancer diagnosis.
While Connor had a very tough attitude, his mom said that every hospital visit was a battle to get through.
I wish I could be that parent that said he was smiling and laughing and, still continued to be able to keep that smile on his face, but he wasn't. He hated going to the hospital, he hated going to clinic, he hated receiving chemotherapy to get his port access. He cried, he begged, he pleaded to not go. That was our experience, unfortunately, but he's here and he's okay, so you get through.
The bike Macro rode for the event was dedicated to Connor. In the past 3 years, the event raised over $46,000 to help the kids and their families, and this year they had their biggest event yet, raising over $21,000 for the cause. In Syracuse for Mornings on the Hill, I'm Hannah Duncan.
And this is a fact I actually just learned today. 46 children in the U.S. are diagnosed with cancer each day. In other news, People's Place Cafe in Hendricks Chapel will have a new look after winter break.
The history of People's Place spans back to 1971, but after the semester ends, all that may be left of the creativity and colorful atmosphere is memories. The campus plans to renovate the coffee shop because of health code violations. But don't worry, the coffee shop is clean. Over the years, the paint used to make the colorful artwork is out of date. The changes to the shop began this past summer with new countertops, and the next plan is to add fresh paint and add new cabinets.
This place has been around since '71, and I don't think nothing has really been touched since then, besides different employees throughout the years, like adding artwork or pictures or quotes all over the walls and things. And so it's this whole tradition that we have here, and it's kind of part of what makes People's Place People's Place.
The student-run not-for-profit coffee shop will still have its comforting spirit that everyone loves, just with a new look.
Elsewhere on campus, Citrus Racing's newest toy is almost complete. They took their new and improved CR2 race car out for a spin as the squad prepares for the 2019 Formula SAE competition in Nebraska. Members of the club came up with the design and engineered the car all on their own.
The team here at Syracuse has been around for 10 years, and this is the third car that they've completed since the club began. President Graham Harrington is proud of the work the group put in and is excited about putting the finishing touches on the car.
This started last year, so we're pretty much on a 2-year cycle right now where we build our car 1 year, goes throughout that year we get ready for competition, take it to a smaller competition first to kind of warm up, get us see what we need to fix, all that. And now this year we're going to take that car, modify it, fix things that need to be fixed.
If you're interested in getting involved or looking for new members, you can reach out on the Citrus Racing's Facebook page. And now for the second consecutive year, a record number of people have signed up to participate in Orange Central. Over 2,000 alumni and relatives will be joining in on the homecoming festivities, which is a 90% increase in participation since 2016.
The week of events will be headlined by the first annual Syracuse University Alumni Award celebration. On Friday, the orange carpet will be rolled out as the university celebrates accomplished alumni from past generations. Events for Orange Central will run from Thursday till Sunday.
Army veterans are honored for their dedication to the country and their community, serving the country's many veterans' life work.
After medically retiring from the United States Army, this veteran made the decision to power on and serve his community. But through his time, this education, our Emily Barkan live in studio this morning with the dual master's student.
Thanks, Dom. I'm joined this morning by Rob Rivera. Thank you so much for being here with us this morning, Rob.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. So you've said before that joining Navy Junior ROTC helped you find direction in high school. That takes a lot of discipline as a younger person. So how did you reach the decision to become a part of that?
It was interesting because before that even, I was a part of an organization that was similar to the Boy Scouts. I had done that for several years, and so once I saw the students at my high school getting involved and being a part of the NJROTC program, it drew me right in. I was sold immediately.
You were an EMT on 9/11. What was that experience like, and what stayed with you throughout the years?
Right. I mean, that was, obviously an incredibly difficult period of my life. I was only a couple months into doing EMT work when that actually occurred. So, about 3 months in, and next thing you know, you find yourself there. I think that the most difficult part was really trying to grasp the concept of not being able to do everything for everyone. And so I think the takeaway from that really was just, to do what you can for those you can reach.
Yeah, it's a great lesson to learn through such a tragedy. After leaving the military in 2010, the Wounded Warriors Project led you to climbing mountains. What are the similarities between climbing these huge mountains and climbing the ranks of the military?
Right. Yeah, I think it applies not only in the military, but right across the spectrum, really. Being able to take a challenge on and no matter what it is, and say, okay, well, how am I going to accomplish this? You see this huge thing sitting in front of you, 12,000 feet. Okay. So it's a lot of preparation and a lot of diligence in order to get to that point.
I'm sure. So you're in the midst of earning your dual master's degree in Newhouse and the Maxwell School, and have been offered a spot in the New Jersey City University's doctoral program. How does your inspiration from the Army differ from the inspiration you received from school?
I think that there are definitely similarities, but I guess to contrast it, the military is obviously it's very rigid. They tell you what you need to do and how to do it. Education is much more on your own. And I think, taking the educational aspect and looking at it like a job and saying, okay, well, I'm going to schedule myself to study from this time to that time or whatever it is. And really kind of regimenting what you do on your own is an important part.
Yeah, definitely. What are the next steps for you after you're done with your formal education?
Can't wait for that to happen, as much as I love school. But the goal ultimately is to get into academia. Now that I'm no longer able to be a first responder, now that I'm no longer able to do what I used to do in that capacity, I want to try to teach people how to do what I used to do in order to try to mitigate problems or threats, as well as how to respond to them once they occur.
It's amazing work that you're doing. Thanks once again to Rob Rivera for joining us this morning. I'm Emily Barkan, live in the studio, now for your Orange Buzz with Elijah Williams.
Your Orange Buzz. What's trending on the Hill? The Syracuse Chiefs have changed its name to the Syracuse Mets, and some fans have mixed emotions about that. Marissa says we went from the 51s to the Syracuse Mets. Come on now. We couldn't have been like the Syracuse Abominable Snowman or something? Not from Rochester says, whoa, wait, the Syracuse Mets. Greg Blass said the biggest acquisition for the Mets will be the Syracuse Mets this offseason. PD Wing says Syracuse Mets is so boring. Ben Gosto said Syracuse Mets is just terrible. They should be embarrassed. So lame. And Chris Calamari says at the Mets and at Syracuse Mets, good luck in Syracuse. Let's go Mets. So that's what's trending here on the Hill. Now Casey Busher is up next for Orange Sports.
Good morning, I'm Casey Busher with your Orange Sports Update here on Mornings on the Hill. 10 years ago, former Syracuse volleyball player Carrie Potts experienced the worst day of her life. While vacationing in Italy, Potts became a victim of assault. Luckily, Potts escaped, fighting back against her attacker, and since then, she has used this traumatic experience to share her story to spread awareness to others. On Monday, Potts spoke to the student athletes at Syracuse to bring awareness to violent attacks and her own personal story.
I also believe they're leaders in their community and on this campus, and how they talk about other women and how they talk about victims is seen and watched and heard exponentially more.
It's just information that you just don't get often, and you can
can like Google it, but it's something different to hear from someone speak personally. Every day we want to hear stuff on a personal level. You don't want to hear something from someone who has a doctorate. So today was just a night that I personally needed to hear, and I would like to be more involved today going forward.
As the Senior PR Director of ESPN, Potts is utilizing her platform to help women around the world. To learn more about her story, visit afightbackwoman.com. Basketball season is back in action. Both Syracuse teams had scrimmages in the Dome this weekend to kick off their season. The tip-off of Orange versus White took place on Friday evening. With almost everyone from the team returning this season, the chemistry seems to already be in play for the Orange. O'Shea Brissett led the Orange squad over the White team 77-72. With high hopes coming off of a Sweet 16 run last year, Syracuse basketball is ready for their exhibition opener on October 25th at 7 p.m. Adding to the squad, Syracuse basketball signed the most prized recruit in upstate New York, Joe Girard. The future is looking bright for the Orange. I'm Casey Busher, and that's your Orange Sports Update. Still to come on Mornings on the Hill, this year's homecoming court was just announced. We have the details on your candidates for King and Queen. Stay with us. That story and more just ahead.
Welcome back. This weekend is Orange Central here on campus. It's an annual celebration for the entire SU community to come together and show some Orange pride.
The celebration officially started yesterday in Shine Student Center with activities and the announcement of this year's homecoming court.
While students waited to hear the names of this year's potential king and queen, they had the opportunity to get some free food, make some art, and take some pictures in the photo booth. At noon, all 10 members of the homecoming court were announced. There are 5 candidates for king and 5 for queen. We asked 2 candidates what winning would mean to them.
What would it mean to me? It would show, first of all, that engineers have a personality. I think that's the first thing, because I know that a lot of engineers are seen to be like very antisocial and in their own link call, you know. But I think it'd be mean a lot just to show that anyone can do it.
I've been underneath an amazing legacy of homecoming queens, Nina Rogers, Miracle Rogers, and then Lanaya Roberts. So they're all people who I've actually looked up to, people who I have been able to either use as role models or even sustain like tangible relationships with. And so their time here impressed a lot upon me. So I just want to carry on their legacy for the next generation.
Voting is now open until Saturday evening at homecomingcourt.syr.edu. The winners will be announced on Saturday at the UU and Traditions Commission event. Tickets for that event are on sale now. Rebekah Castor has more on Orange Central activities with your weekends on the Hill.
That's right, Taylor and Dom. It's homecoming weekend here at SU, but you don't have to wait until Saturday for all the fun to start, because Orange Central events actually begin tomorrow. There are numerous events every day, all weekend long, but here are the ones you cannot miss. Tomorrow, world-class runner and journalist Roger Robinson is on campus for a book signing and lecture. Robinson's book, When Running Made History, was published by Syracuse University Press earlier this year. Robinson will be meeting with students tomorrow evening from 5 to 7 p.m. in Byrd Library. Friday, it's Shark Tank meets SU with the Whitman School's Orange Tank. For the 4th year in a row, students and alumni entrepreneurs will pitch business ventures to a panel of accomplished judges. The top 3 student and alumni presenters will win cash prizes. The competition kicks off at 1 p.m. at the Whitman School. Saturday, SU takes on the North Carolina Tar Heels in the homecoming game. But beforehand, be sure to check out the Orange Central Tailgate on the Quad starting at 10:15 a.m. Delicious tailgate and fun prizes are available to those who purchase a ticket. SU's marching band will perform, and have your cameras ready because everyone's favorite mascot, Otto, will also make an appearance. And before we say goodbye to all our alumni on Sunday, if you're an early bird, come out to the promenade in your best orange attire for a race to remember. The 3.5-mile run will honor the 35 students who lost their lives on Pan Am Flight 103. Registration opens at 9 a.m. and the race starts at 10. For a list of all the events going on this weekend, please visit the Orange Central website. I'm Rebekah Castor, and that's This Weekend on the Hill.
Now, I'm sure you guys have heard the Mega Millions jackpot has risen to a record of $868 million. No tickets from Tuesday night's $667 million drawing had all the winning numbers.
The last group of people to win were 11 California workers who split the $543 million prize back in July. Now, the odds of winning the Mega Millions are about 1 in 260 million. Now, guys, what would we do if we won the Mega Millions jackpot?
I have no idea. I don't know what to do with all that money. Honestly, I don't know. Get some dogs, new
I
pets.
couldn't even imagine it. I would be too nervous to win because you hear about all those people that like get murdered after they win the jackpot. I would not want people to know
share
that
the
I
wealth
won.
a little bit. I don't know. Give to my family. I don't know. Well, that will do it for us this morning. I'm Taylor Epps. Thanks so much for watching Orange Nation.
And I'm Dom Musillo. Be sure to check us out on social media and send us any tips you have. See you next Wednesday at 10 a.m. right here on OTN.